All right, LeBron appeared to be responding to Griffin and Kyrie, tweeting, quote, "Never let another ride your wave." Cowherd, who looks worse here, LeBron or Kyrie?
Well, I enjoy body surfing, so I really... I've said before, there's so few transformative players. In my life watching the NBA, there's 20. When you get connected to one, Magic, Duncan, LeBron, Bird, generally don't leave. Now, not all great players are great to play with. I think Kobe could wear you out. But I would make an argument that Magic and LeBron have been about as easy and elevating of your stats as I'm the star as any star we've ever had. And I just don't think when you get this transformative guy and he shares, and your numbers, by the way, with Kyrie, your efficiency numbers are better with him than without him, why would you leave that?
I don't like analogizing LeBron to Magic Johnson. And again, I think LeBron's a better player, but I'm a Magic Johnson guy. Magic Johnson played for one organization. LeBron has jumped from Cleveland to Miami and back to Cleveland. And wherever LeBron has been, there has been discord.
Yes.
Mike Brown, Dan Gilbert, Pat Riley, early on with Eric Spoelstra. Now he's back and there's more discord, disharmony. David Griffin appears to be, to me, taking Kyrie's side. David Griffin had an opportunity to blame Dan Gilbert for not giving him a contract. He seems to me to be pointing a finger more towards LeBron James. So, look, man, there's some great things to playing with LeBron, and there's some really bad things to playing with LeBron. And David Griffin appears to be saying that Kyrie's handled this wonderfully. He's been involved at the ground floor level. I'm going to side with David Griffin.
If you look at LeBron, guys, he's the leader of the team. In times of crisis, leaders step up. Last year, Cowboys, Tony Romo stepped up, was a leader even though he was behind Dak. I think in times of crisis, LeBron should be stepping up, say, hey, Kyrie, I know we've been through a lot. Let's sit down and hash this out. There was no GM in Cleveland. Griffin was gone when Kyrie made this request. I just feel like kind of the blame goes to LeBron. He should just step up and say, hey, man, I'm the second best player of all time. Why can't we sit down and talk this out?
Well, it's always going to be pressure on a guy like LeBron because, like you talked about, transformative players, they don't come around. So expectation levels are going to be extremely higher. I read Steve Jobs' book, okay, and it was all about he drove people crazy.
Yeah.
He was tough to deal with. But in retrospect, a lot of people said when I was at Apple under Steve Jobs, I did my best work.
Yeah.
Because he demanded the best. Whether you liked it all the time, you didn't. Sometimes you probably couldn't stand him. But you did your best work. It's no different here. LeBron's demands are going to be a lot higher because his standard is a lot higher.
Sure.
So a young player like a Kyrie Irving that still believes he has so much to prove independently, for him, it's just like a father-son. The son is going to buck eventually. I don't care. I got a son. That's what's going, and that's what's happening here.
Show leadership.
But he is showing leadership. But understand something. It's different than going with Dwayne Wade, who established himself before. He didn't really have a lot to prove. Kyrie, in his mind, still feels, right, wrong, or indifferent, that he has a lot to prove. And now, how he went and took it to Dan Gilbert, he went right to the owner. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Whether you agree with it or not, that's something he chose to do. But it's always going to be pressure on LeBron James because of who he is.
I think we'll look back at this trade based on the results of where Kyrie goes. I'll give you an example. When George Clooney left ER, that's courageous because he succeeded. Mm-hmm. When Shelley Long left Cheers, that was stupid because she disappeared. If Kyrie ends up with the Suns, you're going to be like, boy, that's ignorant. If he ends up with Boston, you're going to be like, boy, that was courageous. This could be results-based in about a year.
You make an excellent point, and I like those analogies. Jim, the thing I would say about your Steve Jobs analogy, though, is Steve Jobs was the owner and led from the ownership chair.
LeBron owner.
No, Dan Gilbert owned the team.
LeBron
Mickey
is the
Harrison
owner.
owned the team. And so until he's an owner, he should maybe reevaluate his leadership strategy and model, LeBron James.
You mean the conversation and how he comes across.
Yeah.
LeBron can be in a way where he does at times throw his teammates under the bus. He may not feel like he's doing it, but as a teammate, I know Tristan Thompson and those guys feel like sometimes, LeBron, back up a little bit. You need to take some responsibility. That's part of his growth, and I think his next growth in regards to being that kind of leader where he steps up and accepts that responsibility.
Jim, can I go back to his father-son point real quick? Can you imagine a father subtweeting his son with a wave on social media?
Some fathers do it, but some fathers do it because that's the only way they can communicate with their child. Some fathers do it.
By the way, Magic got coaches fired. Michael punched the teammate. LeBron's, to your point, he's difficult. Troy Aikman, go watch those old NFL films, was barking at guys.
No. Listen, I think some of that is good. But with LeBron, it always ends in divorce. No, seriously. I mean, he left Cleveland, he left Miami, and all things seem to be pointing he's going to leave Cleveland again. That's not. Michael punched a teammate without leaving Chicago. Magic got Paul Westhead fired and worked with Pat Riley. You know, eventually they made it work. LeBron, I just don't see it happening anywhere. And again, love the guy to death, tremendous, you know, one of my favorite athletes of all time, but there's some flaws
Maybe
there.
he is perfect for L.A. He gets divorced a lot.